Let's look at question number 1 on the assessment. For each question, we will pause and let the teacher read the question and the answer choices. We will pause again and let the teacher facilitate discussion about the blue guided questions and then specific questions that are related to each individual question. Pause now to review the blue guided questions as well as what is perimeter and how do you determine the perimeter of a triangle. When I got ready to solve this problem, I first drew an illustration of the triangle. Take time now to solve the perimeter of a triangle. Once you have found your answer, you may ask your teacher to help complete the griddable chart here. For question 2, we'll pause again for the teacher to read the question and the answer choices. And please pause now to review the guided questions and the questions that are specific to this question for number 2. When I looked at question number 2, I determined that we didn't know how much Howard started with. We knew over time he gained 17 pounds, and then now he weighs 112 pounds. So I can work backwards by using subtraction. Instead of just saying 112 minus 17 would give me the starting point, I can break 17 apart to make it easier to subtract. I could say 112 minus 10 gives me, and then if I take 7 more away, I would have the starting weight for Howard. Please feel free to use this way to subtract to find the starting weight, or another method that you can use to solve the answer. Again, your teacher may help you bubble in the responses once you have independently determined the answer. We'll begin question 3 and pause for the teacher to read the question. We will pause again for the guided questions. And now I can look at this number line. I know that Gary started with $175 and then he spent $17. Which one of these number lines represents Gary starting with $175 and then spending $17? We'll now start question 4 and pause for the teacher to read the question and the answer choices. We will pause again for the guided questions and discussion. When I got ready to solve this problem, I used a place value chart. I took 27,897 and then took answer choice F, 27,996. To see is 27,897 greater than 27,996. I can look at my place values and then determine at the hundreds place I have 8 hundreds and 9 hundreds. And so I know that 27,897 is actually less than 27,996. So this would not be correct. You can use this same way to look through over answer responses G, H, or J, or another method to help you solve this. Take time now to mark your answer independently. For question 5, we'll have the teacher read the question and answer choices again, and pause to facilitate the guided questions, as well as using the diagram here to understand how do base 10 blocks represent numbers. In the story, it told me 1,287 shells. So I went ahead and wrote this where it's in number form, where it's easier for me to understand. Then I will look at question A. Answer choice A. I have 1, 1,000. I have 2 hundreds. And then now let's count my tens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I was needing 8 tens, so I know this is inaccurate. So I know answer choice A is not correct. Take time now to look for answer choices B, C, and D and determine which model best represents 1,287. For question number 6, we'll again pause for the teacher to read the question and answer choices. And we'll pause again for the guided questions and discussion. When I got ready to solve this, first I made a number sentence. I knew John had 15, Mark used 12, and Jamie used 11. I'm trying to find the total number of pencils that they used during the school year. Now I'll look at all these 3 different models to determine which one shows the correct model of 15 plus 12 plus 11 and came up with the correct answer. Is it 38 pencils, 37 pencils, 28 pencils, or J, not here? Question number 7. We'll take time to read the question and the answer choices aloud, and then pause for the guided questions and classroom discussion. For this problem, you will need to round to the nearest 10. What is 449 rounded to the nearest 10? What is 653 rounded to the nearest 10? And then how could you solve this problem? Take time now to mark your answer on your own. For question 8, again we'll pause for the teacher to read the question and the answer choices. We will pause again for the guided questions. When I got ready to solve this question, I used my place value chart and put in 83,458. I'm going to look at answer choice F first. It tells me I have 8 100,000s, and I know this is not correct because when I look at the hundreds thousands place, I know that I do not have 8 here, so F could not be a correct answer. Take time now to use the place value chart or another strategy to see which form of expanded notation correctly shows 83,458. For question 9, we'll pause for the teacher to read again, and we'll pause for the guided discussion. When I was looking at this map, I know that from Amarillo to Fredericksburg is a total of 463 miles. I also know the distance from Amarillo to Lubbock and the distance from Amarillo to Fredericksburg, but I do not know the distance from Lubbock to Abilene. To solve this problem, I could use repeated subtraction by starting with Fredericksburg and then subtracting the distance to Abilene and the distance from Amarillo to Lubbock, and the remainder will give me the leftovers that are right here. I also could first add the 2 parts that I do know and then subtract that from the total to give me the missing part on the map. Please use one of these strategies or another to solve this question. For question 10, we will pause for your teacher to read again, and we'll pause for the guided questions and discussion. When I got ready to solve this problem, I know that I'm looking for a number that 8,510 is greater than what number? So knowing that this number is going to be larger, I'm looking for a smaller number to complete this comparison statement. So I know right away that there's 2 answers that are not smaller than 8,510. I know right away that 8,615 is too large, and I know that 8,749 would be too large. Now look at the remaining answers and determine which one would be 8,510 is greater than, would it be Bush Mountain or Bartlett Peak? For number 11, we'll pause for the teacher to read the question and answer choices. Pause again for the guided questions. When I'm looking at a number line, I know that I can start with my number 2,376, and since this has a scale of 100s, I can look at the hundreds place and use that to determine my starting point. I know this number would be somewhere between 2,300, and then I could find the next consecutive multiple of a 100, which would be 2,400. So which number line shows that where P most accurately would be for 2,376? For question 12, we'll pause for your teacher to read, and we'll pause for the guided questions. I hope that you took time to discuss that moving left across the places, the values are always getting 10 times to the position of the right. I've included I've included in this question this model to help you answer with these responses. Let's look at question number 13. Please pause for the guided questions. Knowing that a square has equal sides, I labeled the missing parts to this picture. Now I know that for the perimeter, I'm going to add all 4 sides. Take time now to select the correct answer. For question 14, again, we'll pause for the teacher to read the question and the answer choices. We will pause for the guided questions. When I'm looking at money, I know that I'm trying to find what set here that has the same value as $4.49. I can first determine the collection of the coins in cents, and then I can determine the collection of bills in dollars. And then I can combine those to determine the value of both the collection of coins and bills combined. So if I know I'm looking for $4.49, I can look at F first. I know that 2 quarters makes 50 cents, and I have $4, so that's $4.50. This is not $4.49. Take time now to determine the value of each set of coins and dollars and bills, and which set shows $4.49. Then mark your answer independently.